Hello and welcome to another episode of FTD Talk. My name is John James and I am a writer and campaigner for male victims of female perpetrated domestic violence and an advocate for men's mental health. In today's episode, we talk to Natasha and Sally Bentley about their work with male victims of abuse at Refuge and their founding of the Men's Drop-In Group. I can't wait for you to hear this one. It's a good one. Before I go, as always, please like and subscribe. The more the channel grows, the more people I can help. Take care. Peace. Okay, welcome Natasha and Sally to FTD Talk. And when I knew I was going to have a conversation with you, I announced it on Twitter, and I was inundated with questions to ask you.
Okay.
So, I've got notes this time.
We'll try our best.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do, if it's all right, is I'll split the conversation up into three. I'll ask you about yourselves, then the organisation, and then we'll go on to what you do for male victims of abuse. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To start with, can you tell me a little bit about your backgrounds and how you came to work at Refuge?
Yeah, so I'm Natasha, and I moved to Bournemouth 3 years ago, and I'd left my job of 13 years and I was currently looking for work, and I was applying for all different things, and a job came up, but to work with ex-offenders. So it was for a charity, and to become a mentor for ex-offenders. So I joined the charity and I started doing some work with them. And then in the meantime, a job came up working in Refuge. And so I just went for the job and got the job with my background of mentoring ex-offenders. I wasn't actually aware of male domestic abuse at the time because it was a women's refuge. But during the interview, I was told that we have one flat for one male resident as well. And so I started the job, and quite quickly I became the support worker for the male victim. And I think it was from my mentoring of ex-offenders that gave me gave them here for me to actually work with the male victim here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just over 2 years ago.
And Sally, how about yourself?
Yeah, I've got a background in education and then had enough of working sort of timetables and schools. So I had a bit of a change. I went to work for BCHA, who have who run the refuges in Bournemouth and Poole, as a relief support worker. And so I went around some schemes, and on one of the trainings I met Natasha, and I came to support at the Refuge. And one day the boss said, "Is there anything else you want to do?" I said, "Oh, like the sound of these male drop-ins." And so then I went to work. I still do other relief work for BCHA, but my passion is really for the male drop-ins of Natasha. So that's where I am.
Awesome. And what are your do either of you experienced abuse at all?
No.
Yes, I have. I've been in an abusive relationship in the past, and family member as well, abuse.
Yeah. And what are your views on abuse? Do you see it as a gendered crime?
We tend to say abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
If we hear it from the women, we hear it from the men.
Yeah.
Obviously, adults, children, straight across. Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to.
So for us, why we kind of got involved in the male side of it is because working in a women's refuge, we saw a lot of what women support that women have, and we noticed that there was a niche for the male side of it, and that's why we decided to specialize in the male side of domestic abuse. And since then we've done quite a lot of training. We go on a monthly conference with Mankind as well. So we're trying to gain knowledge as we're going along, you know, as much knowledge as we can to help support our male victims. I think as well, when we speak to our guys in our groups, there's still a big, like, for them, there's that embarrassment as well. So we're always encouraging the guys, tell people your story. Do not be ashamed. Tell people that you're being abused. And actually, as a result, they're actually helping other people along the way. So again, it's just educating people to know and understand that as a male victim, it's not an embarrassment. You know, it does happen and it does go on. And I think things like television and soaps, they always focus on the female side of abuse, and they really need to focus more on male side of abuse and make it more aware. So we always recommend that our guys watch Abused by My Girlfriend, which is a BBC, it's on BBC iPlayer now, and they always watch it and it's brilliant, but we need more of that to come through.
Yeah. And do you find there's somewhat of an apathy as well, even from men who've been abused, that people don't want to support male victims of abuse and don't want to come out and talk about it?
It's the fact that they don't understand it, and they're not going to be, the professionals don't understand it, and then the victim isn't believed. So there's that whole circle, and that's something we're continually trying to break down. And when the guys or their story isn't worthy, it's not bad enough, you know, it was okay, you know, it's normal. And when they listen to other guys, they realize actually, yes, you know, that they feel validated. It's you know, and that's the main thing, I suppose, that we've been working on in the drop-ins, is men talking to each other, realizing how, you know, how serious it is.
Yeah, because sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it's understanding the abuse as well. So during our male drop-ins, a lot of the men, they talk about things and then they say, you know, we explain it to them, and even they're unaware of some of the abuse that they've actually gone through. So it's hard for other people who are watching in to understand and believe it if they don't as well. So it's all, you know, it's all about making just awareness of the male side of domestic abuse.
Yeah, because when I went through my abuse, it wasn't until several years later that I understand everything that went on.
Yeah, you have to
absolutely
be so out of it, you know, away from the situation. Yeah,
and I think education for the men who've been abused as well, to really understand what's gone on.
Yes.
Can I ask you about your views on rape? Because one of the things that I've been pushing is for a change in the definition of rape.
Yeah.
So can I ask you if you agree with that men can be raped by women?
Yeah, definitely. And with most of the guys in our group, sex is always used against them. You know, each of them, that's kind of become apparent during our meetings. Therefore, women do use sex quite a lot because it's quite a powerful thing.
And for a woman to call rape, and the man is accused of rape, locked up, taken away, all of this, it's a very easy thing for women to do, where a man, a lot harder, isn't it? So
and then once the charges are dropped, we've noticed that nothing's done about it. So therefore the man is now left with a rape sticker over his head, but it's been dropped, but you know, that it's not followed through. So therefore that's something that man has now got to live with for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And if the woman forces a guy to have sex, it's called sexual assault, which sounds a lot less violent than rape.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it does need looking at.
And do you find that a lot then in your line of work, that that men have gone through something that violent but don't see it that way because of social attitudes?
Yes. Social attitudes, and also sometimes the attitudes of professionals, because that's the reaction that they get from them can be very ad hoc, you know. if you go to police or social services, whoever, there's no sort of, constant line. It's sort of like what policemen you have, if there's an allegation be made, what services, there's no consistency there, because not everything is treated the same way.
Yeah. And let me see. Can we go on to how you came to do your drop-in centre?
Yeah, so it was a year ago, last October. Just before that, I kind of realised, like I said, what facilities there were for women, and especially working in a women's refuge. However, the one guy that we have here, I was supporting him, and I realised that there was nothing, like we run pattern changing, we run freedom courses for women, but there was nothing for the guys. So I just approached my manager one day and said, I'd really like to start a drop-in, just somewhere that men can come. We know that men don't talk or struggle to talk. And I just wanted somewhere for guys to come along that were all in the same situation, could relate to each other, could help each other, could support each other, and discuss abuse. And so my manager took it to the commissioners here, who said that I could start it. So we found premises, and we just started one group a week, and I had a couple of members of staff that came with me. And that's when then Sally then said to my manager she would like to get more involved. So the two of us started it together. And we had only one guy at the beginning, and actually that guy a year later still comes to us, and it's just amazing to see how he's really grown. Then the commissioners had a meeting and came back and said they wanted us to start another one in another area. And then we started that one. We did that one in the evening, so that we thought a businessman working 9 to 5, it's something that they can come to. Yeah.
We do that one in conjunction with the local YMCA. So we take referrals from them. Yeah. And that's been a really, really good relationship that we've been able to support them. We did a little talk. They asked us to come and give a talk to their men's health group. We thought we'd just pop in and say hello. We were there for an hour. As a result of that meeting, we had 3 guys come. One of them didn't realise he'd been in an abusive relationship in the past until he'd heard about it. So, it's amazing. It's just to hear these guys, and we focus very much on, it's a drop-in. We're not support workers, we're not therapists. It is really for the guys to talk to each other. So we're not particularly structured, it's all confidential. It's just, we can signpost. They have a WhatsApp group so they can communicate and share things. These drop-in groups have just gone from strength to strength, having referrals from professionals. Sometimes the guys just see our posters from all over.
We had a referral last week actually from a guy who had actually reached out to Refuge charity.
Yeah.
So as a result of the Refuge charity, he came to us. And you were saying about Women's Aid. We had a guy in our group who phoned Women's Aid. He was advised to, and Women's Aid said, "You're a man, we're not going to speak to you." Whereas we've had another guy come through who did contact Women's Aid, and they gave our number. So we've kind of seen it both sides of the story. And again, it's about getting it out there, promoting it, making everybody aware of it, which is what we've been doing this last year.
And it's great because some of the guys that have been coming a long time, everyone's at their own stage of their journey, but the support they can give to some of the new guys that come is absolutely amazing. We don't talk so much, it's the guys. It's absolutely and we did ask them once how they felt about having 2 women, thinking, oh, they might like a man to come, but the response we've got, and they assure us it was genuine, is that they're happy for us to do it. And so we're not a women hating group or anything like that. It's we even had a couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting with the local policeman, and a local cafe in Bournemouth gave us their premises one evening, and we had about 10 guys come, and they could ask questions to Dorset Police, and that was absolutely brilliant. So we're trying to make those connections, build faith in services. yeah, it's been really positive.
Because that's another thing that I've trouble with. It's during my abuse, and I've heard it from a lot of men as well, that they've had trouble from the police not believing them. They've reported abuse, and the police have turned up and arrested the man.
Yeah, we have that across the board. That's why we wanted to organise this meeting.
We're finding a lot of the younger policemen are getting it more. You know, it's some of the old school, man up and all this business. But it will happen. It's just incredibly slow. But yeah.
I think that women's organisations have a lot of power, though, and I think that's one thing that slows the process down.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's good to see that two women
we're very passionate.
We are supporting men. Yeah, you sound it. Yeah.
We're trying to get there's women have freedom and pattern changing courses. There are courses for males. We're trying to get onto so we can facilitate those courses as well, to break the pattern, because a lot of guys, when they're out of the situation, they're not confident of moving on. They don't always think they'll see the red flags. So courses like pattern changing would be really good. So we're hoping to facilitate those in the next year. Lots of good things.
Awesome work.
Thank you. Our aim is to actually go into businesses and companies as well, to make them aware of male domestic abuse, because that's something that's come through with our guys as well, that we've noticed. Not believing or understanding, because our male drop-ins are classed as a therapy group. Some of the guys have difficulty getting time off to be allowed to come to them. And one company, we've actually had to write a supporting letter, which, for a therapy group isn't on really, but
it shouldn't happen, because men don't like to say, I'm a victim of domestic abuse. They don't want to tell their HR. They don't want to tell their boss. It's actually turned around for this company now, because we supported this chap that they let him come to the groups, and then his boss actually then signposted another member of staff to come to us. So it's that education, and that's really what we're trying to do as well. We're advertising our groups on the internet of lots of local bigger companies as well, based in Bournemouth and Poole. So it's the educating everybody.
And what's the future for you two then?
Wow. Well, there you go.
We want to branch out completely with working with male victims and survivors of domestic abuse. So we're trying to kind of push it through our company. At the moment, it's obviously coming down to funding, like everything else, but
that's the problem again with women's organizations. Don't want the equality out there, because they'd lose the funding towards men. So
right. I mean, we're funded, our commissioners are BCP. They've been brilliant so far. When they see the stats, I think they'll encourage us even more. I mean, we want to carry on with the drop-ins, more education, more working in the communities. We want to talk to social workers, get in the NHS a little bit more, down at A&E, recognising it. Because knowledge is everything.
We're in contact with Ian McNichols as well from Mankind Initiative. And he's been working over in Hampshire and recognised that they don't have any facilities. There's no refuge in Hampshire is what's come out, and there's no support or help. So one of our drop-ins that we do that's very quiet at the moment is on the borders of Hampshire. So we're going to try and go across, we have
sneak over the border
to bring them in, just so that we can offer Hampshire and other or some parts of Hampshire some support as well, because it's important that you guys get this support.
We're very lucky. We're going to meet our CEO of BCHA on Tuesday, and just chat to him about what we do, and fingers crossed he'll be behind us, and we can go forward. So
is there any thought of putting together a refuge where men can stay and escape the violent home?
again, it comes down to funding. I would love to do something like that. I would just like somebody to give me a property, and then that's exactly what I would do. You know, we have a male space here, but obviously that's one space.
Yeah.
In Dorset. I don't know how many other male refuges. We did have another one in Dorset, but I understand it's closed down. They couldn't fill it, is what they said. Whereas in just over 2 years, we've always had a male resident in refuge.
Yeah.
And I know in Cornwall there's a refuge for male victims, but I would love to open up my own male refuge. If you can help in any way.
Well, if there's anybody out there with a property, these ladies want one.
Absolutely, yes, please, definitely. We can make it, yeah. So I think with our, you know, our knowledge and advice as well, when we do our groups, we can help the guys understand just what they've been going through, and you know, it helps them as well on their journey.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome work that you're doing, ladies. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And it's good to see that men are being helped, because there's not much of it about, to be fair.
Yeah, we are aware of it, aren't we? So and even now, you know, like we're going places and we're seeing advertisements or television programs for female victims, and we get really angry because we're like, no, we need to push it, we need to promote it. So we've started going into pubs as well with our posters, and we've been asking them to put them into like male toilets. Yeah. And the ones we're going into have been really supportive, because we know that there's a lot of things around, you know, posters around to help women victims. But again, what about the guys? So,
and I must say, everywhere we've been so warmly, you know, received. Yes, please. No one has ever been the manager of a Weatherspoons in the centre of town. Wherever we go, it's really, really, no one said no. So people feel it. We just got to keep pushing it all the time. Yeah.
That surprises me that you've had so much support, actually.
Yeah. It's been really.
We're very vocal.
And I can see that you're very passionate about it, so you know that comes across.
Yeah.
Is there any plans to expand your team?
Well, as I said, we're seeing our CEO on Tuesday, and we've got some ideas we want to put forward to him, and we'll see. We're not going to let it go. We're going to keep working with these guys that we've got, and
I think as well, because we've gained their trust. So for us, if we bring other people in, we're very wary of it, because we know these guys will talk, and they have opened up to us. So we just want to kind of keep it just us at the moment, unless it expands massively. But and then they need to be as passionate as what we are, otherwise.
Oh God, yeah. It does need that passion and that drive.
Yeah.
And that understanding as well, because like if you're not understanding, you won't get the point. And that'll come across to the guys.
Yeah, very much. So and a lot of these guys, they're also, a lot of the guys we have parental responsibility. Some have got children with them, some haven't, and a lot of the work we do is actually enabling them to keep their little families together. And it's rewarding when you say, oh yes, you can contact your child's school, you know you are and the simplest things can make such a difference. There a lot comes, you know, with the children and the parenting side as well, so it's good.
And we've really seen them grown, which is brilliant. You know, that's what our aim is to empower the guys to move on and, you know, understand and to carry on with their journeys.
In the refuge, the women's side of it, what happens to the if they come in with teenage boys, if they're trying to escape an abuse when they come in with teenage boys?
So the teenage, they can obviously have their children here with them. They're self-contained flats that they have here, and we do have a couple of teenage boys. I think the age is 16. So the ones that we've got in are obviously under 16, but they could be quite close to the age of 16. But we just make everybody aware, really. Again, if our male moves on and then we bring in another male, we do let the women know, because obviously you've then got a strange male turning up. So, but
yes, and also the teenage boys, because obviously we try to get them into school as quickly as we can, carry on education. Then they get outreach, because all children from domestic abuse situations will have outreach, so there's extra support going into them at school. So that's good. And they make friends in the refuge anyway.
It's good to know that they're not turned away because they're older men.
No.
That's fantastic.
And I think, like I say, because we're self-contained flats, I think that makes a difference. I think it's different shared accommodation. So we don't, we're okay to take them.
And can I offer 2 or 3 copies of my book to your cause?
Yes, please. We would love that.
I'll after this is finished, if you drop me a line of where you want me to send them, I'll send them through.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Because we do plug your book as well, where you have spoken in our groups, because we do have a guy who's written a book as well. But like I say, it's nobody wants to publish. He's had a book published, but not on domestic abuse. So he has gone back to his publisher, but
his angle is as well. He's autistic. So it's also the autism with the abuse as well. So there's a slightly different angle on it. But he is struggling to get that published.
I spoke to a guy on FTD Talk a few weeks ago, actually, who's autistic, suffers PTSD, and has been through abuse, and it's very, very complicated. Very complicated.
It's hard. You're strong.
Well, if anybody's in Dorset, you can plug our group.
I'll plug your group anyway. What's the name of your group?
So, well, the drop-ins are they're just male domestic abuse drop-ins. That's what they are. We've got posters and everything. We've got so we had to fight, actually, not fight. We had to work with our company to get the right card and the right picture, and we have little business cards that are nice and discreet. Without saying, and then we've actually had to work quite closely with them to get what we want. But yes, those in our poster go around various, professionals and doctors and things. So
our WhatsApp group is called I'm a Voice.
Yes,
I'm a Voice. Well, there you are, guys. get onto that if you've been abused.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you're putting in.
Thank you.
And I wish you every success in the future.
Thank you. You as well, because your journey is really interesting to follow as well.
Thank you.
Right.
And I'm glad you're happy with Leslie now.
Oh, I am. Yeah. Over the moon.
Lovely.
Hey, wonderful. There you
Lovely.
go.
Yeah, she's been through her own journey, you know, and we just met at the right time. That's all.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's inspiration. Lovely. That's lovely. All right.
Thank you, ladies, for speaking to me today.
Thank you
Bless
very
you.
much. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm going.